You know, there's one debate from the 90s that still gets pretty heated in some circles.
Oh, yeah. Not politics, I hope.
Aha, no. Pop culture. Battletoads versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ah, classic. Which game was better, right?
Well, yeah, that's the usual argument. But what I find really fascinating and what we're diving into today is how different they are at their core. Like two totally different blueprints for action heroes.
Exactly. We're going past just, oh, I like this one more. We want to really get under the hood, or shell, I guess.
Or amphibian skin, yeah.
Yeah, look at their strengths, their weaknesses, and especially how they actually fight. Their combat philosophies are worlds apart.
And we've got this great document to guide us. It's called Amphibious Assault versus Ninja Prowess.
Yeah.
A deep dive into Battletoads versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Pretty comprehensive stuff.
Yeah, it really breaks it down. So our mission, essentially, is to figure out, based on this deep dive, if these two teams threw down like a full-on brawl, what are the key differences in how they fight and work together that would actually decide things? It's about understanding their core styles.
Okay, let's meet the contenders. First up, the Battletoads. We've got Rash, Zitz, and Pimple.
And these aren't your garden variety frogs. They're, well, anthropomorphic warriors. And the weird part, they used to be regular kids. Junior high schoolers.
Yeah, that's wild, right?
Yeah.
And their look, it's almost grotesque. Super exaggerated transformations.
Totally. And their mission is pretty straightforward video game stuff. Beat the bad guy, the Dark Queen, rescue the Princess Angelica and Professor T-Bird.
So Rash is kind of the leader, or at least the main face. Got the sunglasses.
The flamboyant one.
Yeah.
The source notes, he's actually nimble and smaller compared to the others. Super fast, super agile, known for those smash hits.
Those crazy special moves, yeah.
And that nimble part isn't just talk. Apparently he can dodge lasers, point-blank explosions even. That's seriously fast.
Wow. Okay, then there's Zitz. He's positioned as the brains of the operation.
Right, the strategist. Intelligent. And his fighting style is interesting because he mixes in tech, like drills, saws, mechanical stuff coming out of him.
It was not just brute force with him. There's a
Right.
bit more calculation.
Seems like it, yeah. Still brutal, but maybe a hint of tactical thinking that you might not see as much with the others.
And finally, Pimple. The source calls him the super-duper muscle.
Huh. Yeah, that sums him up. He's the powerhouse. Pure strength. Big, damaging smash hits. He's the tank.
You definitely don't want him landing a punch. He's the heavy hitter for the Toads.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's swap the swamp for the sewers now. New York City. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Leo, Donnie, Mikey, and Raph.
Heroes in a half shell. Mutated by that, classic ooze. Raised by a giant rat sensei, master splinter in ninjutsu.
And their whole deal is different, isn't it? It's steeped in martial arts tradition, more clandestine, operating from the shadows, protecting the city.
Right, less overt than the Toads' big space battles. So Leonardo leads. He's the disciplined one. Twin katanas.
Embodies honor, responsibility. The source really focuses on him being that anchor for the team. His sword skills are top-notch, obviously, from years of training.
He's the core, keeps them focused. And you've got Donatello, the genius.
The tech whiz, yeah. Give him spare parts, he'll build you a spaceship, master the bow staff, always thinking, finding logical solutions, building gadgets.
He brings that intellectual edge. He's a problem solver, not just a fighter. Uses his brain,
Definitely. Finds clever ways around things.
Then there's Michelangelo. He's the fun one.
The party dude.
Exactly. Nunchaku master. Super agile, but in a really unpredictable way. He seems laid back, but you can't underestimate him in a fight.
Yeah, that easygoing thing. It hides some serious skill. His movements are fluid, hard to track, very adaptable.
And last but not least, Raphael.
The tough guy.
Hot-headed, rebellious sometimes, but fiercely loyal. And deadly with those twin Psy.
He brings the raw aggression, that fire. His temper can be tricky, maybe a weakness sometimes, but his skill and determination are undeniable. A serious fighter.
No doubt. Okay, contenders introduced. Let's get into how they actually fight. The source calls the Battletoad style the smash hit doctrine.
Right. And what that means, for you listening, is it's visceral, it's chaotic. Those smash hits are their bodies morphing into weapons.
Like insane weapons, giant fists, huge boots kicking guys off screen, ram's horns, spikes, axes, drills, just appearing.
It's wild. Almost comical sometimes, but devastating. It's all about overwhelming the enemy with these sudden, powerful physical transformations. Pure spectacle.
Shock and awe, basically.
Right.
Constant, unpredictable change. Very direct.
Impact focus, definitely. Immediate destruction is the goal.
Okay, now compare that to the turtles. Their philosophy is the way of the ninja. Sounds different.
Oh, completely different. It's disciplined. It's rooted in ninjutsu. So it emphasizes refined combat techniques, stealth, precision, using the environment.
Master Splinter's training. Efficiency, right. Using surroundings.
Exactly. Where the toads are loud and proud, the turtles value skill, discipline, subtlety. The source even points out key parts of ninjutsu like invisibility and deception.
That's a huge contrast. Toads equals flashy force. Turtles equals skilled stealth.
That's a key takeaway for you, yeah.
Yeah.
The turtles are trained to be unseen, unheard, to exploit weaknesses, set up ambushes. It's much more strategic, calculated.
Which leads perfectly into talking about their strengths. Let's start with the toads. What makes them so tough? First thing, immense physicality.
Yeah, their strength is described as superhuman, almost breaking the rules of, typical game physics. Just raw power.
And not just strong, but fast. That hypersonic speed and agility, especially rash dodging lasers.
That's incredible reaction time. It gives them a massive edge, being able to dodge things that fast. Almost impossible reflexes.
Yikes, they can take a beating. The source mentions extraordinary stamina and durability. They absorbed insane amounts of damage.
Their resilience is almost like cartoonish. They just keep going after hits that would take anyone else out.
And a huge strength. Unpredictability, that morphing. You just never know what shape they'll take next.
Keeps opponents completely off balance. How do you defend against something you can't predict? You can't really have a set strategy against that.
And finally, their chaotic synergy. They don't coordinate like the turtles, but when they're all going full tilt together.
It's described as decimating. It's synergy through sheer momentum and overwhelming force. Just the volume of attacks is hard to handle.
Okay, let's flip to the turtles' strengths. What makes them so effective? Top of the list. Ninjutsu mastery. Refined skill.
Years and years of training under Splinter. It's not just hitting, it's technique, precision, efficient movement, applying force smartly. A really deep skill set.
Plus, each turtle has their weapon specialization. Leo's katanas, Donnie's bow, Mikey's nunchaku, Raph's sai.
Which gives them amazing versatility. They can adapt to different fights, different opponents, lots of options.
They also have enhanced physical stats, like the toads. Superhuman strength, speed, agility. But maybe applied differently.
Yeah, maybe not always reaching those extreme cartoonish peaks of toad power in some versions, but still way beyond human. And crucially, they channel that power through their martial arts skill, more finesse.
And a huge advantage. Tactical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
strategic coordination, Leo's leadership, Donnie's intellect. They can actually plan mid-fight.
That's critical. Thinking as a team, analyzing, adapting tactics, that gives them a massive intellectual edge over the Toad's more direct style.
Which comes from their teamwork cohesion, all that training together. They just know what the others are going to do.
An unbreakable bond, yeah. They operate like a single unit. Almost intuitive understanding. That's something the Toads just don't seem to have in the same way.
And finally, stealth and ambush.
Mm-hmm.
Ninjutsu 101, moving unseen, unheard. Big advantage in the right situation.
Element of surprise, right? It can totally negate raw power sometimes. A major asset for the turtles.
Right, but no one's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's talk weaknesses. Battletoads first. The source mentions strategic naivety, potential for chaos.
Yeah, despite all that power, they lack that refined martial skill. They rely on brute force, the morphing, not so much on, technique or planning.
Their tactic is basically hit stuff hard. The source calls it profound strategic simplicity. Almost get the crap out of everything in front of them.
Which can work, but against skilled, agile opponents who can evade and counter, that reliance on power becomes a weakness. They might struggle against better tactics.
And that chaos,
Yeah.
it can backfire, right? Wild morphs, lack of precision, could lead to mistakes, maybe even hitting each other.
Oh, definitely. You can picture it. That lack of controlled targeting creates openings for a disciplined team like the Turtles. How do you coordinate when you're turning into a giant boot?
Okay, Turtles' weaknesses. Internal conflicts are mentioned. Leo versus Raph, that rivalry.
Yeah, those personality clashes. They can disrupt teamwork at crucial moments if they're not careful. A moment's hesitation or disagreement in a fight, that can be bad.
And individual flaws, too. Raph's temper, Mikey's occasional immaturity, Donnie's self-doubt, even Leo being maybe too rigid sometimes.
A clever opponent could potentially exploit those, manipulate them, create discord, bait them into errors.
And finally, there's the question, Can their skill overcome just sheer, overwhelming force? Could the Toad's power just be too much?
It's a valid point. The resilience might be tested against those extreme Toad smash hits. Can skill and agility fully compensate if one of those massive building-level hits connects? It's a big if.
Okay, time for the main event. Team versus team, full melee. The source breaks down the comparison really well. Let's start with raw strength, destructive power.
Here, the Toads have a clear edge. Those smash hits, the morphing, described as having small building-level potency, that's a lot of power.
Whereas the turtles, while superhumanly strong, T-Rex bite resistant, which is a great image,
Yeah.
their strength is more applied channeled through skill.
Exactly. Toads are raw destruction. Turtles are focused, leverage power through martial arts.
Speed, agility, reflexes. The source calls it pretty even overall, both capable of hypersonic dodging.
Yeah, both incredibly fast. Though it does add a little nuance. The TMNT's ninjutsu, agility, acrobatics, stealth, maybe Mikey's unpredictability, might give them a slight edge in pure maneuverability.
Durability, stamina, resilience. Seems like Battletoads take this one. Their endurance is described as exceptionally high, almost cartoonishly so.
They can soak up way more damage. Turtles are tough, they fight through injury, but the Toads seem to have a much higher damage threshold.
Strategic capability, this is where it flips.
At time. TMNT are rated very high. Ninjutsu tactics, Leo's leading, Donnie's brainpower, huge advantage.
Their ability to plan, adapt, coordinate, it's a massive difference maker.
Absolutely. Whereas the Battletoads, rated very low. The source is pretty harsh, single-minded, bordering on the imbecilic.
Ouch. So, not much complex planning there. See enemy, smash enemy.
Pretty much. Relies on momentum and power, not intricate strategy.
Teamwork follows suit. TMNT. High cohesion. Disciplined, specialized roles operate as a unit.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Years of training show they anticipate each other.
Battletoads. Low cohesion, more chaotic, relies on overwhelming force together, but less actual coordination.
More like individual powerhouses fighting near each other, creating momentum rather than executing planned team moves.
Skill and adaptability. Again, leans turtles, very high. Ninjutsu mastery, diverse weapons, using the environment, problem solving.
They're adaptable, can handle different situations, think on their feet, use what's around them.
Battletoads. Low. Rely on brute force, preset morphs. Less refined technique, less adaptable when things get tricky.
Yeah, if brute force doesn't work, they might not have as many backup plans or alternative approaches.
Finally, unique abilities. TMNT, ninjutsu, stealth, deception, specialized weapons, Donnie's tech, maybe some mystic stuff depending on the version.
A diverse toolkit, rooted in tradition, boosted by tech, lots of options.
Battletoads. It's all about that versatile body morphing, the smash hits, plus individual specials and those tongue attacks.
Their strength is that sheer unpredictability and the power of the transformations. You just never know.
Okay, so knowing all that, let's imagine how a fight might play out. Plausible scenarios. The source suggests the Toad's initial rush.
Yeah, that sheer ferocity, the unpredictable morphing. It could totally overwhelm the turtles right at the start. That raw power is intimidating.
That initial chaos could catch the turtles off guard if they aren't ready for something so weird.
But the turtles have a counter. Superior strategy, stealth, using the environment. They could weather that storm, then exploit the Toads' lack of refined tactics.
Right. Use cover, coordinate, pick their moments. While the Toads are just charging, they could turn the tables after that first wave.
A key moment could be disrupting the Toads' synergy. If the turtles can isolate them, break that chaotic momentum.
Target them one by one, maybe. Exploit that lack of real interdependence.
Exactly. If they break that overwhelming wave, the Toads lose their biggest advantage.
But conversely, a big enough smash hit from a Toad could shatter the turtles' coordination, right? Disrupt formations, communication.
Oh, for sure. Especially if they land a heavy blow on Leo the leader or Donnie the strategist. That could throw the whole turtle team off balance, create chaos they can exploit.
The source even breaks down some specific one-on-one matchups. Rash versus Mikey. The speedster versus the prankster.
That sounds like a fun fight to watch. Rash's speed, morphing reach, that tongue attack, versus Mikey's agility, unpredictability, and Chaku skill. The source even hints Mikey might bait Rash with his playful style.
Then Zitz, the toad tactician, versus Donatello, the turtle genius.
Battle of the brains. Zitz's smart aggression and tech morphs against Donnie's own tech, bow staff skills, and strategic mind. Who outthinks who? That's the key there.
Heavyweights next. Pimple, the toad brute, versus Raphael, the turtle brawler.
Classic strength versus skill and aggression. Pimple's massive power against Raph's ferocity, Saiyan mastery, and surprisingly tactical fighting. The source thinks Raph's skill and agility might actually give him an edge, despite Pimple's raw strength.
And the leaders. Leo versus Zitz. Disciplined swordsman versus strategic morpher.
This feels crucial. Leo's tactical leadership and sword skills against Zitz's intelligent but maybe more brutal tactics and morphing arsenal. A real clash of leadership styles and combat approaches. Whose strategy prevails?
Beyond these direct comparisons, there are always X factors, wild cards. Like, which version of these characters are we even talking about?
That's a big one. Canon variability. They've changed across games, cartoons, comics. Feats vary. The Battletoads games often show really consistent, over-the-top power feats, maybe more so than some turtle versions. That matters.
And just the sheer unpredictability, especially from the Toads.
Yeah.
You can't plan for everything when your opponent can turn into anything.
Right. And Mikey brings a bit of that chaos factor for the turtles, too. That element of surprise can bypass even the best defense. Disrupts plans.
And finally, the mentors. Professor T-Bird versus Master Splinter. Their influence.
The source argues Splinter's deep ninjutsu training and philosophy give the turtles a more adaptable strategic advantage overall compared to T-Bird's more mission-specific intel for the Toads.
Deeper foundation for the turtles, maybe.
Seems that way. More holistic combat understanding.
Okay. We've analyzed, compared, speculated. So, after all that, what's the verdict from the source? Who wins this thing?
Well, the nuanced conclusion is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles seem to have a more consistent set of advantages, enough that they'd likely win in a majority of scenarios.
Okay, why? What's the core reasoning?
In a team fight, it comes down to strategy, teamwork, and exploiting the Toads' undisciplined style. The Turtles' coordination and tactics generally let them overcome the raw power difference.
Makes sense. And in individual fights.
Again, the edge often goes to the Turtles' refined skill, adaptability, and tactical thinking, even against a stronger Toad. Their martial arts and weapons offer more versatility.
Environment plays a role, too.
Definitely. Complex environments favor the Turtles. Stealth, using cover, maneuvering. That's their wheelhouse, thanks to ninjutsu. The Toads are more direct, less subtle.
But there is a scenario where the Toads win.
Oh yeah, the source acknowledges that in a straight-up, no-frills brawl. Limited room for tactics. The Toads' sheer power and crazy offense could absolutely overwhelm the Turtles, especially if they land those big hits early.
So if it's just a slugfest, Toads have a real shot.
A very real shot.
Okay, so the big takeaway for you listening is Battletoads bring immense power, incredible unpredictability. But the Turtles' blend of skill, strategy, and teamwork makes them more adaptable, more consistently effective in most situations.
Exactly. It's a classic case study. Brute force isn't everything. Skill, tactics, working together, that often carries the day, even against overwhelming power.
Fascinating stuff. So one last thing for you to chew on. Think about how the where changes everything. What if they fought in the Dark Queen's fortress? Traps, fortifications. That helps the Toads, maybe.
Or what if it's the New York sewers? Dark, maze-like, perfect for the Turtles' stealth and tactics.
Right. How would those specific places totally change the fight? By playing to their strengths or weaknesses. It really shows how much context matters in these hypothetical clashes.
It really does. The environment could be the ultimate deciding factor, swinging the advantage one way or the other. It adds another layer to the whole debate, beyond just comparing power levels. A great thought experiment.